Welcome to The Explainer. I'm so glad you're joining us today because we are jumping straight into the mind of an absolute titan. Our goal for this explainer is highly specific. We're not just looking at what the world's most talked about entrepreneur has built, but rather the exact, replicable mindset that actually fueled those creations. We're going to deconstruct the cognitive framework of Elon Musk.
$230 billion. Yeah, take a second to wrap your head around that. It's a completely staggering figure, representing a literally unprecedented magnitude of wealth and empire building. But here is the absolutely crucial point we have to understand. This number isn't the result of sheer luck or some massive inheritance. It is a direct byproduct of a very specific, intense way of operating in the world. And that operational style is exactly what we are going to decode today. So, here's our roadmap for this explainer. We'll start with origins of a titan, then move right into the time compression formula. Check out the unorthodox playbook, and finally we'll wrap up with Beyond I Can't. All right, let's get into it.
Part 1. Origins of a Titan, Building the Baseline.
You know, this massive ambition didn't just appear out of nowhere. It was forged really early on. Starting as this science fiction-obsessed kid in South Africa dreaming of the future, Musk eventually moved to North America, caught a massive entrepreneurial bug, and honestly just hit the ground running. He graduates from the University of Pennsylvania in '92, and by 1995 launches his first major venture, Zip2, eventually selling it for over $300 million. But 2002, that's the real turning point. He sells PayPal to eBay for $1.5 billion, walking away with a personal payout of $165 million. Now, most people would absolutely retire right there, right? Go buy an island. Instead, Musk uses this exact moment to found SpaceX, and shortly after, in 2008, he acquires Tesla. These early massive exits basically funded an almost unimaginable tolerance for risk.
And that foundational wealth, it literally allowed him to spread his focus across some of the most massive, futuristic, and honestly completely unrelated industries you can think of. I mean, we're talking Mars colonization with SpaceX, sustainable energy with Tesla, literally merging the human brain with computers at Neuralink, and completely reimagining urban transport with the Boring Company. He isn't just building a business here, he's building a multi-planetary empire.
Moving on to Section 2, the time compression formula, accelerating reality.
So how in the world does one person achieve all of that simultaneously? Well, it really boils down to this one core mindset. The average planner sits down and asks, okay, how can I achieve this really ambitious goal over the next 10 years? Musk, on the other hand, takes that exact same 10-year to-do list and asks, how can I achieve this in 1 year? Now, when pressed on this, Musk actually admits that doing a 10-year goal in a single year is probably impossible. But here's the absolute genius of it. Even if he fails and it takes him, say, 2 or 3 years, he's still vastly outperformed the average person who gave themselves a full decade. By aggressively compressing the timeline, he essentially forces radical innovation.
Musk actually describes the psychology behind this using what he calls the home cleaning rule. And it's so relatable. It's simple. If you give yourself 6 months to clean and organize your house, it will take you exactly 6 months. Mostly because, let's be real, you're going to procrastinate for 5 of them. The work literally expands to fill the time allotted. But if you give yourself an absolute non-negotiable deadline of 1 month, you will get the exact same house clean in 1 month. It's entirely about the determination and setting that hard deadline. Let's actually see this in practice. 500. Back during the intense 2018 Tesla crisis, his team had a seemingly impossible order: deliver 500 cars in just July, August, and September. For literally any standard manufacturer, this was an absolute logistical nightmare. But instead of pushing the deadline back or making excuses, Musk leaned right into the compression. He demanded a 100% delivery rate, deployed every possible resource, and through sheer force of will and these extreme short-term deadlines, they delivered.
All right, Section 3, the unorthodox playbook, breaking the bureaucracy.
Listen, to operate at that blistering speed, you simply can't play by traditional corporate rules. Just take his hiring process, for example. Tesla famously does not require college degrees for employment. Musk holds this really firm philosophy that a traditional school education does not guarantee wealth or innovation. Instead, he places a massive premium on the kind of art you learn on the streets: practical, tangible, roll-up-your-sleeves skills. In his playbook, self-education and the ability to aggressively solve problems in real time, that will always trump academic credentials.
When speed is your ultimate priority, standard operating procedure just completely vanishes. Picture this. A critical machine tool breaks down at a Tesla factory, literally halting the entire production line. The replacement tool happens to be in France. Standard shipping? 2 days. Most CEOs would just shrug and accept the delay. But Musk? No way. He immediately jumps in his private jet, flies all the way to France, picks up the tool himself, and is back by evening. The factory line kept moving. That is how you break bureaucracy.
And this crazy agility, it extends straight down to customer service. There was a time a customer arrived at a supercharger station only to find all 10 spots blocked by fully charged abandoned cars. Annoyed, they shot off a tweet. Musk personally reads it, instantly calls an emergency board meeting, and get this, within 5 minutes of that single complaint, Tesla implements a global 40-cent per minute idle fee for cars left to chargers after they're full. A global corporate policy changed in 5 minutes. Zero red tape.
And that brings us to our final part, Section 4. Beyond I Can't, the relentless drive.
We've looked at his systems, sure, but what about the sheer, almost pathological competitiveness powering them? Check this out. During his college days, Musk and his first wife, Justine, actually took an exam together. Justine scored a phenomenal 97. Elon scored a 98. He won. He was at the top of the class. But a 98 wasn't 100. Despite already beating his closest competitor, he relentlessly marched right up to the professor and demanded his paper be regraded to find those missing 2 points. Even when he wins, he is relentlessly pushing to beat his own internal standard.
Now, obviously, being that relentless requires an immense amount of personal sacrifice. Take his 47th birthday, for example. The world's richest man didn't celebrate with massive yachts or huge parties. Nope. He spent 24 uninterrupted hours working. 0 sleep, 0 partying. For him, the achievement of the goal is the celebration. The work itself is the ultimate fulfillment.
And that intense drive, it makes him completely fearless when it comes to authority. Back in 2006, the US government was preparing to launch their Titan IV rocket, but it conflicted with the launch window for SpaceX's Falcon 1. The government politely told this brand new private startup, hey, delay your launch. Now, most companies would immediately comply, right? Not Musk. He simply bypassed them, secured the necessary permissions on a remote Pacific island, and launched his rocket before the US government could even launch theirs. Just incredible audacity.
So, the real takeaway we arrive at here is simply the phrase, I can't. For Elon Musk, those 2 words literally do not exist in his operational dictionary. When someone tells him a task is impossible, his brain genuinely doesn't compute the concept. I want you to look at your own constraints right now. Seriously, how many times do we just accept the phrase, I can't, simply because society or standard procedures tell us so? Musk proves time and time again that rejecting the very concept of the impossible is step 1 to actually achieving it.
We're going to wrap up this explainer with a really powerful quote from the man himself. When something's important enough, you do it, even if the odds are against you. We've seen exactly how he compresses time, ignores red tape, and pushes way past normal human limits. So I want to leave you with one final, provocative question to think about as you go about your day-to-day. What is the single most important goal in your life right now, and what are you willing to compress from a 10-year plan into a 1-year plan starting today? Thank you so much for learning with me. Catch you next time.
Thanks for watching Billionaire Blueprint. For more exciting videos, please subscribe to the channel and keep watching.